Hello everyone and welcome to 3 Times a Gamer. Today we're going to do a quick review on the Switch version of Axiom Verge. Originally released back in 2015 on the PlayStation 4 and PC, and then ported to Xbox One and the Wii U in 2016, Axiom Verge saw its release on the Nintendo Switch on the 5th of October. I had heard of the game before, and that it was a Metroidvania style game, but besides this, I went into the game blind. I expected a cheap Metroid knockoff, which if I was lucky would scratch the itch to play Metroid Samus Returns, which I can't play due to not owning a 3DS. Before going any further, I can say that Axiom Verge scratched that itch and then some. Axiom Verge opens with a retro 16-bit style cinematic, kicking off the events of the game. You play as Trace, a scientist that is caught in an explosion and wakes up in a strange world he doesn't recognise. Guided by the voice of Elsinova, a Ruselki, it's explained that someone called Athetos has poisoned the world of Soldra, killing off most of the beings of the world. Chase must purge the world of Athetos' toxin to allow Elsinova and her friend Ophelia and the other Ruselki to heal. I was surprised to find the game had a good story with thought put into it, also introducing the odd twist as you progress. Too often the story of Metroidvania style games are mediocre, so it's good to see Axiom Verge tackling something a bit different. Let me say this, Axiom Verge plays like a very good Metroid game, but with its own feel also. For those of you who have not played a Metroid or any other Metroidvania style of game, Axiom Verge is a 2D platform shooter where you collect upgrade in order to progress to new areas of the map. This may involve returning to a blocked location earlier in the game once you have a relevant upgrade, for example. Upgrades in Axiom Verge range from the expected to the very unique. Essentially, upgrades take the form of 3 different categories. Character upgrades, such as health boosts, weapon damage and range. Movement upgrades, such as the ability to dash through walls, jump higher or grapple the ceiling. And new weapons. Many of the weapons themselves are out of the ordinary. Weapons like Kilva act as the game's shotgun with a powerful close range attack that can penetrate walls to hit enemies behind them. Other weapons include Reflector, which bounces off walls, Hyperatomizer, which has a shot that shoots sideways while the main beam travels along, and the Vorge that hits multiple points at once in a wide arc. In some ways, the weapons remind me more of the type you'd normally find in arcade overhead shooters. Similar to Metroid, there are areas too small to reach in a current form. Instead of rolling into a ball, like in Samus' case, Trace has a drone that does the hard work. The drone has its own health and weapons, so also comes in handy for scouting out situations if you're low in health. The most unique ability I have access to, however, is the Field Disruptor. This essentially corrupts enemies and environments to weaken them or change their behaviour. For instance, small, fast enemies, once corrupted, can suddenly become much larger and slower, making them an easier target to hit. It's an extremely useful tool, both in combat and for traversal, and I think it's great to have the game's most unique mechanic used the most in the game. There are a wide variety of different enemies in the game, making each room different from the last. These enemies become harder as you reach new areas in the game, allowing for the difficulty to stay at a steady pace. Axiom Verge also offers several bosses that all require you to find the correct weak spot to concentrate your fire on. Each boss looks unique, which is nice to see a variety continue throughout. Visually, the game is a retro 16-bit pixel art style and looks great. With varied enemies and boss design, the game always has something fresh to experience throughout. Each of the game's different areas also have a different colour scheme and feel, which also stop the game from becoming stale. My favourite design is that of the Ruselki, large towering machine-like entities that take up a large portion of the screen when in their presence. The music is equally great and equally retro-inspired. Each area also has its own music, allowing for you to know which area you are currently exploring. Axiom Verge is a very fun and well-accomplished Metroidvania 2D shooter that you would be unlikely to regret purchasing on the Nintendo Switch, especially if you're a fan of Metroid games. There are some bad points, of course. At times the game can be tricky to know where to progress to next, leaving up to the player to explore the map to find the next area. This can be fun, as you will likely come across more upgrades in the progress, but there are times in the game when you may not realise there is a small area you have not yet explored, and can leave you wandering back and forth for some time. As there is no fast travel function in Axiom Verge, this can become a little frustrating, but it's worth the persistence. I have unfortunately had the game crash on me a couple of times also. Thankfully, Axiom Verge does load fast and you will save very often, but if this was to happen just after beating a tough boss, it would leave you feeling quite annoyed. This has been quite rare, only happening twice in 12 hours, but this is the only time the Switch has actually crashed on me to date. However, these are small issues that are easily outshined by the rest of the game. The replayability of the game is very good also. Firstly, there is the option to continue to explore the map to find all the secrets to 100% the game, but on top of this, the game does include a hard difficulty setting, and also a dedicated speedrun mode, which includes a timer when you meet certain milestones, such as beating a boss. Overall, Axiom Verge is a great game worthy of your time, and to be honest, it's probably one of my favourite games so far on the Switch. To me, Axiom Verge is one of the best Metroidvania games to date, beating some of the Metroid games themselves. Currently, as I'm doing this video, the game is on a sale on the Nintendo Switch, even more of a reason to pick it up. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the quick review of Axiom Verge, and I'll see you again soon with another video. Bye!